I'm Justin Young, and he's Garrett Tucker, and this is a Tucker Topics podcast every single week of all the action going on in the Southeast. And Garrett Tucker, our lead analyst in the Southeast, has got it going on. Garrett, what's going on, brother?
I just enjoyed a good Thanksgiving. Probably ate too much. Kind of wishing we still had some food around the house today.
Hey, man, I tell you, one thing I was very thankful for is elastic on the Thanksgiving holiday. I was very, very happy to have some elastic in my life on Turkey Day, no doubt about it. But when you say Turkey Day, Garrett, I also think about the Lighthouse Classic. It's right after Thanksgiving holiday, and I know you are always there with the front row seat and covering the action. I feel like as long as that event's been going on, you've been there. Is that a fair assessment?
This was the 9th year. This year, I've only missed last year. So they took off with COVID year, and then I missed last year. But yeah, 8 of the 9 years, I'd say is a pretty good average.
I love it. It's one of the, really when you. I've never been, so I'm speaking out of ignorance a little bit. Maybe you can explain that a little bit more, but it's one of those events in the Southeast that I think every year kind of levels up. Give me a snapshot of what makes that event so great.
Well, first and foremost, the Lighthouse Classic is put on by the Lighthouse Foundation in Corinth. They do a great job of helping underprivileged kids in the area in a variety of ways, and this is their biggest fundraiser. But like you said, they've really leveled it up from year one, where had just a bunch of local Mississippi and Alabama teams to now where you're pulling teams from Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, even Canada. Fort Erie from Canadian Prep School was there this year. So they're doing a really good job of bringing a lot of talent to an underrated basketball town. Corinth loves their basketball. And that's the best part about it. This is a small gym that a lot of these guys aren't used to playing in, but it's a small gym, and it's just a great environment. So it's very underrated for sure. My favorite event of the year.
I think if you have a bucket list of high school events to go to, I think this one for sure sits. It's on mine for sure. I just got to knock you out of place so I can get in there and cover it, man. I feel like you've cornered the market on coverage for the Lighthouse Classic, but I'll succeed. I'll see.
Also, the hospitality room is right up there at the top too, so that's always a good thing.
I'm just trying to keep elastic in business is what I'm trying to do at all times. So it sounds like the Lighthouse will help us do that. So if you followed Garrett at all on social media, you know there's a trending topic throughout the weekend, and it's something that we wanted to talk about here on the Tucker Topics, and that is LaBaron Philon, man. That dude is on a mission this season out of Mobile, Alabama. And Garrett, we've seen him at our camps. We've seen him at our different events. And it seems like every time we see him, he keeps leveling up. And I feel like that continued on there at the Lighthouse.
Definitely. He actually came out Friday afternoon, broke the Lighthouse individual scoring record.
That's nuts.
Exactly. That Tommy Murr, who's playing at Lipscomb now, all-time Alabama scoring leader, and Isaac McBride had 46. LaBaron scored 47. And if you asked him, he probably would say that he should have had more than 47. But it was a great performance from him. And like you said, he's just really trending upward. Start of the year, I don't know how many games they've played, probably 7 or 8. And he's probably been over 30 points in all of those, a couple of 40s as well. So he's really rolling. It's impressive to watch him play.
You know, it's funny. He's one of those guys I was watching. I kind of stumbled in on him. I was watching a ton of film last year. I got COVID like everybody else did. I'm going through as much film as I can. And I was trying to watch Barry Dunning. That's who I was trying to watch. And they played Baker. And I'm like, man, who is this dude cooking? And it just, ever since then, I've been like totally obsessed with seeing as much as I can. And now here we are, and he's a nationally ranked guy. He's, your top guy in the state of Alabama in 2024. We've talked about it before briefly, Garrett, but like, let me break it down in 2 parts. Number one, we'll start locally, okay, with the state of Alabama. You've covered that state for a long time. You've covered guys in the Southeast. Where so far, here he is, at the start of his junior year, where does he stack up with some of the best players that you've seen over the last 15 years in the state of Alabama?
So when I think of top guards in Alabama, I start with Kyra Lewis, John Teddy, Eric Bledsoe, and all of those guys are completely different. And I think LaBaron he's different than those guys too. If I had to compare him to one of those, he would be more closely with Kyra, just longer guards, can really do a lot of everything. But
And you loved Kyra, like you
but
loved
I,
Kyra, like
I will gladly say I was the Kyra Lewis fanboy. I was the first one. So that's why I'm not ready to say he's going to be a Kyra Lewis lottery pick yet, which I'm very conservative when it comes to that. But LaBaron, he is well on his way. He's playing really well. Obviously, with 47 points, he had it rolling. But the scary thing is his scoring may not be the best part of his game. He's a really, really good passer and just can really see the floor, opens it up. So he's just a fun player to watch. I actually was talking to my friend Jeff Roberts from Mississippi over the weekend, and he threw out a good comparison. I kind of agree with. Saw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with Hamilton Heights at the same event a few years ago. They're very similar body types, mannerisms, and I think he's going to shoot it a little bit better than Shai, but still, that's a really good comparison, I believe.
So I like that. So as you were talking, I had to look up his profile on HoopSeen. Okay, so here's his profile, and then right there we have him listed at 43. Okay, nationally. I get the sense if you're saying that he's comparing to a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is one of the hottest guys in the NBA, which is bull. Okay. Kyra Lewis was, like you said, a lottery pick. Are we too low? Do we have him ranked too low? Is he a 5-star McDonald's guy?
I think the conversation definitely needs to be had. I think he's trending towards a McDonald's All-American level. Obviously, his resume so far is speaking for itself. So I definitely think he's trending towards a top 25 range for sure.
I like it. So we're going to put this in permanent ink. Is that what we're going to do? We're going to put in permanent ink to the guy that we need to raise in our big next reset, the national rankings.
It's feeling like March already. Sharpie, baby.
I think I've got one in here. Somewhere in here. My wife's a teacher, so I have more pens. All right, so we got the Sharpie out. I'm going to put that on the list. All right, top 25. All right, done. It's on the list. I love it. So make sure you go catch up on Garrett's coverage on HoopSeen.com. He's got a great notebook and great analysis there on HoopSeen.com. Make sure you're a subscriber there. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel here at HoopSeen TV. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you're a subscriber, hit the little bell, as they say, and you get these videos as soon as we post them, and you're notified when these go live. And you definitely want to do that because we have plenty more of Tucker's topics throughout the season. Garrett, talk to me a little bit further about the rest of the guys. There was a couple other guys that you really liked. And one of the things that we want to do this season was really highlight some of the seniors that we see, the unsigned seniors. There was a guy that got your attention there at the Lighthouse too, wasn't there?
Yeah, so also at the Lighthouse, they have a tournament within the event, the Prep Challenge, to bring in a couple of prep schools from all across the country. This year there was four teams, so 2 games each day. And I was blown away with Jordan Marsh from Moravian Prep. He was pretty good on Friday, but he just blew my socks off on Saturday. Competitor, came out. I think they were Moravia Prep was winning by 18 at the half over Fort Erie. And of course, Jordan had 18 points at the half, really came out, shot it well, was getting in the lane, paint touches. Just he was that guy for that team coming out. Just a warrior. He really impressed me. And I think he's the biggest stock riser from the event for sure.
I love it. How big is Jordan Marsh?
I would say somewhere around the 6 foot range. So lefty guard, and really just a pest. But Matt, he makes so many winning plays, and I think that's one of my first notes is like this guy wins. And obviously, Moravian Prep came away with the Prep Challenge Championship, so he does a good job of winning. Played with Team Curry; they're accustomed to winning on the UA circuit as well. So not bad for him.
Well, make sure you go check out Jordan Marsh's profile on HoopSeen.com. Our guy Justin Byerly, our North Carolina editor, certainly has some backlogs there of guys and stuff you can go check out. You mentioned to me off camera, Garrett, that UNC Asheville, Colgate are some of the schools that are involved there with Jordan Marsh. Moving in down the line, obviously when you have a big stage, that's a big opportunity for some underclassmen, some younger guys to get some shine? Who were some of those players in the underclassmen groups that really stood out to you there at the Lighthouse Classic?
I'll throw one in your old stomping grounds from Grayson, Amir Taylor. I've always been accustomed to Grayson as guards, guards, guards. And now they've got a lot of guards this year, really talented. But Amir Taylor's got a chance to be a really good big man in that 2025 class. Big fella, has great hands, nimble feet. Stepped out, made his only two 3-point attempts against Grissom Saturday night. There's a lot to like there. So I think he's a guy that could really be on that upward track as well. And he's going to be a pivotal player for Grayson going into the new year as we get going on to state tournament for sure.
Well, we know Coach Jeffrey Pierce is always going to have some studs. Ian Shefflin, who's at Clemson, not a guard, big, tons of bigs coming out of that program too. So good to see Amir Taylor is going to be the guy that's up next there in the Gwinnett County Power out in Georgia. Who else stood out to you in the underclassmen?
Another guy that I really think has been impressive this year is Simon Walker at Huntsville High. Transferred over from James Clemens, and he hasn't missed a beat for Huntsville. He had 26 against a really long and athletic Tupelo team from Mississippi Saturday night. Just really doing a little bit of everything, shooting it, scoring it. He can play a little bit of the point if they need him to, but his length and defensive acumen, it's really coming along as well. So I think he's another guy that's getting some mid-major interest right now. You fast forward to the spring and summer, I think it's time for the high majors to start making the dip with him because he's really playing well.
And what grade is Walker in?
He is a 2025 as well.
2025. Got it. I love it. A segment that we're going to start to do more often here on our podcast is a segment we're calling I'm buying stock in ... Meaning there's a player out there that maybe is under the radar a little bit, that doesn't have quite the shine as some of his counterparts that are some of these events. Were there a couple of players that may fit in this category for you?
So my favorite guy, my get stuff done guy from the weekend would be Mike Jones from Chicago Prep. 6'7", 4-man. Really just got after it, played hard, rebounded, had to have been the leading rebounder from the 2 games in the prep challenge. I mean, he just is a ball magnet. Even stepped out, showed some skill, can put it on the floor a little bit. So he doesn't have a lot going on recruiting-wise right now. He mentioned Illinois State, UIC. So I think he's going to be a really good mid-major guy. He's one to watch for as we get going on into the year as well.
Illinois State and UIC, those are 2 programs that do a tremendous job of evaluating talent. So if you're a recruiting hoop head, deep cut guy, that's a great sign that you're on to a pretty good player, no question about it. There was a player from the Memphis area too that stood out to you, if I'm not mistaken.
Christian Alston, and we'll probably get into this in a second, but the Bartlett-Madison Ridgeland game was awesome. Really high-level game. And Christian Alston was that guy that I had no idea about, really jumped off the page for me. 6'5", 6'6", typical, looks like a great 3-and-D guy. Like I said, Josh Hubbard, Ole Miss signee from MRA, he was really good going into the fourth quarter. I think he had 38 points. They put Alston on him fourth quarter. He didn't score a point in the fourth quarter. So, and also doesn't help. He hit a couple of threes, finished with 27 points. So Christian Alston from Bartlett in Tennessee, just outside Memphis, he was another stock riser for me and a guy that I'm looking forward to watching again here in the next few months.
Bartlett's always going to have some dudes coming out of that Memphis area program. You mentioned Josh Hubbard from MRA. He was involved. What, best game that you saw from the event?
Definitely, and maybe the best half of basketball that I've seen in a long time. MRA and Bartlett first half was really going back and forth, and Bartlett's got a lot of guys. I mean, they're probably 8, 9 deep. They were throwing a little bit of everything at Josh Hubbard, and Hubbard just was putting up points. Really good, and it wasn't him either. It was the whole team. They all were really rolling. But it was just that I had that flow to it. Really good game, back and forth. Everybody matching punch for punch. But yeah, Josh Hubbard, I can't say it enough. He's going to be a great fit for Ole Miss. Even going back to Andy Kennedy, the guards that he had, the smaller guards, he's going to fit
Yeah.
right in. Kermit Davis knows what he's doing, so I think Ole Miss fans are really going to enjoy him.
Chris Warren, one of my all-time favorite small guards.
That's another nice one. Yes.
Really one of the all-time greats there at Ole Miss. So, well, that wraps things up here for the Lighthouse Classic. Any other last thoughts? Any other last anecdotes that we want to bring up from that loaded event every year, Garrett?
If you're from the Southeast within driving distance of Corinth, Mississippi, put it on the calendar the Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving. It's a trip you definitely won't regret taking.
You heard the man. Put it on your calendar. Get out the Sharpie. Circle the dates. Bring the elastic pants. Hospitality room. All the good stuff. Garrett Tucker with HoopSeen.com. We appreciate your time. We appreciate what you do for kids in the Southeast.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.